penalties, to suffer one of their greatest humiliations. Manchester United suffered a humiliating Carabao Cup exit as they were beaten in a marathon penalty shootout by League Two Grimsby at Blundell Park. It had appeared United had rescued themselves in the nick of time after finding themselves 2 goals down in a truly awful first-half display, with returning goalkeeper Andre Onana at fault for Grimsby's second. Substitute Brian Bumo pulled one back before Harry Maguire equalized in the final minute, but Mateus Cunha failed to secure victory in United's last spot kick of the regulation 5, and Bumo's second penalty was saved to hand Grimsby a 12-11 shootout success and trigger a pitch invasion from the jubilant home fans. Ruben Amorim decision deemed very ridiculous. Liverpool fans mocked. We are trying to move on from Liverpool, Newcastle and Alexander Isak, but there's still plenty of that. Man United first though. Amorim is destroying talents. I have had a long and hard thought about what's happening at United and still can't fathom Amorim's decisions, team selection and tactics, but more so his damaging relationships with players. We have lost the services of talented players directly due to his actions, albeit he has been in charge for a short period. First, we lost Rashford, then Garnacho, and now Manu may be leaving. Great talents and skills lost to United, especially if the cool and collected Kobbie Manu leaves. Instead of playing Fernandes at his competent position of number 10 and fielding Manu in midfield, he continues to play Fernandes in midfield and keep Manu on the bench. Very ridiculous indeed. This is not impacting on United only, it is also adversely affecting the performance of Bruno Fernandes himself. Meanwhile, Chico Obi is wasting his skills and talents, not getting even a few playing minutes. Besides, he signed a natural striker, Sesko, and he continues to keep him on the bench. Why? It is completely illogical and, actually, irresponsible that a club signs a needed striker and not play him, leaving him to warm the bench. This is happening despite the fact that only 3 or so clubs scored fewer goals than United last season. No good coach will do that. Sight should further not be lost of the fact that his utterances are adversely affecting his relationships with the playing body. The issues are exacerbated by his utterly refusal to make changes. All told, Amorim is a problem at United, not a solution. I urge him to be flexible enough to identify and implement changes. Amorim's greatest problem is his lack of flexibility, which has resulted in his adamant refusal to make changes. No change, no progress. A saying which is true for all aspects of human endeavors. The status quo is leading the club closer to relegation than to challenging the top 6. Professor Dr. David Achanfio Yeboah, can a 3-4-3 work in the Premier League? To butcher a famous quote. I have not come to bury Amorim, nor praise him, because it's pointless. Firstly, no one of any influence is reading my diatribes. Heck, I can barely get you folk to read them. And secondly, I don't have all the facts. So instead, I want to change the approach of the club-specific moaning and ask the collective wisdom of the group, perhaps some of you former players or coaches. Can the 343 system actually work in the EPL? I've read the books and watched numerous teams who play this system and conclude there are 3 major flaws to it. 1. It is overly reliant upon excellent wing backs. If you try and force players to fill that role, e.g. Dalot, not only do they play badly, but the whole formation seems to fall apart. 2. The high press works right up until you play against elite teams, who can either play around you or ping the ball into the gaps. The current Barcelona women's team is a perfect example of beating the press. Although they lost to Arsenal in the CLF, they played them off the park. 3. Without 2 DMs, there is either huge holes in the center of the park or one of the 3 defenders needs to step up. Currently, none of the MUSC back 3 can either step into that space and run with the ball. Sure, Amorim was successful, but in the Portuguese league, can you name a Portuguese team outside the top 3? And their mid-table teams have noting like the strength in depth of the EPL, teams such as Brighton, Fulham, etc. Similarly with Conte in Italy. And maybe it is just Amorim. After all, other than a couple of players, i.e. Dalot, Fernandes, Maguire, everyone is new, and he's had close to 6 months to get his philosophy across. They can't be that stupid. Can they? Can someone please help me understand what I am missing? Added Asmavk, watch Amorim drop Fernandes, and we beat Grimsby 5-0. Arne Slot has made some errors. Slot has not been great in picking the starting 11 thus far this season. I had reservations